This is the problem. I get stuff out and I look at it and I go, oh, but I could use it for this. But like, am I going to though? Hello dear viewer, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going through my wool stash and having a little bit of a de-stash. I filmed an accompanying video going through all of my synthetic fibres, and while I did film this in March, it took me a little while to edit it and get all things together, but I thought you might enjoy this as a little bit of a midweek ramble. So this is all my natural fibre, my wool, my cottons and my wool blends. Try and get an idea of what I've got in terms of natural fibre. Work out whether or not I want to de-stash some stuff. I was given most of this. Stuff like this. It's nice. I think it's a boucle yarn. It smells quite strongly of sheep. There's definitely a high sheep percentage in here. It is nowhere near as bad as the acrylic. Update in acrylic. I quickly identified the fact that I wasn't harsh enough last time with my decluttering. When it came to the acrylics, I'd saved a lot of very pale pastel-y coloured baby wool that, let's be honest, I'm never going to knit within 100 years. So I have since de-stashed that. So I got rid of a cardboard box full, in addition to what you will have seen in last week's video. I'm definitely thinking that some of the wool I should really put on one of my my inkle loom or one of my tape looms, and just use a rigid heddle and just heddle weave some very plain bands that I can use for reenacting or trade when I do events and stuff like that, because it's always fun to have things you can trade with other people at these kinds of events. So I think I might do a little bit of that to try and get through some of the wool that is in colours that I don't really vibe with. There are very few bits in here that I can safely say I've bought. I knew I bought this because it's naturally dyed wool I found in the charity shop and it cost me £1. These were such a gorgeous colour, picked them up. They're like, what, 50p each, and I've got 3 balls of that. There are a few other bits in the wool that I've picked up, and I know I've picked up because it's still got the charity shop label on it. Let's do a bit of sorting, go through stuff and work out what I actually want to keep, because the answer is not everything. Why is there an embroidery hoop in here? Why, Arnold? What is wrong with you? Ooh, I could knit these up into chickens. Yes! I'm gonna knit this into chickens. Hello down there. Yeah, angling's a bit difficult. I've got a very small living room, we're just going with it. But I've been making up chicken knitting pants. I'm getting off course. Focus. We can do this. Looks like it's sock weight, but then somebody's wound this ball held double, but this ball is wound held single. Make that make sense. That is so future Zoe's problem, it's not even real. Am I ever going to knit with boucle? Maybe if I start knitting sheep. Why would you knit sheep though? Why, on what planet would I be knitting sheep? Do I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one. I just don't know. You know what? No, we're not keeping this. We're not keeping this. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I've wound it up into little cakes that someone else can enjoy. But I'm not keeping this. Okay, this is lovely. This is definitely staying. I feel like I should have sock weight and DK divided somehow. This is sock weight held double to make DK. Someone else has wound this one for me. Would I give him this one? Probably. I inherited 2 people's wool stashes in 1 year a few years ago, and I'm still trying to go through it. So I like to wind the last bit quite tight just to check. Because some wool, you know, the dye can degrade it over time, like it can get really weak and then it will just break. And then if you try and like warp your loom or anything with it, it's a nightmare. Or even to knit with, it can be an absolute nightmare. Okay, more of yellow. So wait, I've got 3 different mustard yellows that are like so nearly the same colour. Why? Okay, red. That is nice to work with. That can stay, I enjoy that. This is stunning. I bought this very pale green. It's baby merino from Jaeger. And I know that I bought this with a project in mind and I didn't end up using it. I ended up going with something else, but I can't now remember what that project was. There's 50 grams of it. It's in a very pale colour. It's very soft though. So this gets a pass for this year. If it's more than a year and I haven't used it, then it's gonna get destashed because it's getting silly around here. Like, I can't keep all this wool. Peer Gynt, I've already been knitting with that. I like it, that can stay. This is so modern but so delightful that I just, for 50 pence a skein, I had to kind of pick it up. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It's like a slightly chunkier size DK, but it's still DK. It's cute, it gets a pass. There's 200 grams of this blue, which I was given. So I'm gonna say that that gets a pass for now. I'm sorry, this is probably like the worst show and tell you've ever watched in your life. Probably getting no usable footage out of this whatsoever, but oh well. I go through the cottons and work out what I want to keep. I saw this in the charity shop when my cousin announced that she was having a little boy, and they cost me like £1 each. But I really hate working with cotton. Like, I never reach for it. I think that these are gonna have to go. I can't see myself using them. What is it with the pale yellow? Yeah, that can go. If you've been here for a million years, you might remember I made a Larika Matoshi inspired knitted vest. The colours are so pretty. I finished that in like 2021 and I'm still working through it and it's 2025! I made myself a wave top, which was in my Italy vlog, which is several videos again. White cotton will always have a place in the stash, just for making up washcloths and things like that. I went through quite a lot of it earlier last month when I made a load of dishcloths. Pink cotton. There's probably enough there to knit a pair of baby shoes. I could potentially see myself using that. It's a colour that's bright enough that I'm not going to get bored looking at it. Some very dark blue and some purple. I've been working through this purple for years, it feels like. I swear I got this in sixth form. I'm 26, that was not recent. I'm gonna destash these 3 things of cotton. Okay, this isn't cotton. Not sure what's in the cotton thing, that's wool. Nice wool, it's quite pretty. It's a bit darker in person than it's coming up on the monitor. This is one of the work baskets I like to keep in the living room. I've knitted a swatch already because I found a pattern called the Overnight Oats Vest on Ravelry and I really liked the idea, and I washed and blocked this swatch. It's gone beautifully soft and drapey, which I wasn't expecting from this wool. It's not crunchy, but it's certainly got a lot more body before it's blocked. I think this might be, just because it's so cool to the touch, this feels like it might be cotton linen or cotton rayon. It's like, this is kind of warm-ish to the touch. This is very cool. There's definitely some linen or something in there. It's really nice. It's got like a slight shine to it. I'll keep this. Let's go through the wool. Do I keep that grey? It's not a colour that I would go for, but it is a colour that my partner would go for. And it matches the grey of the wool I've got to make his medieval tunic with. So I think, given that I've got a blue-grey wool to make a tunic with, having a little bit of grey wool that I can do accessories with that seems like there's a project where this is enveloped. So I'm gonna keep this. I have apparently 112 grams of it in total. Got a couple more balls, cakes, whatever we call them, still in the box. So yeah, this gets a pass. Got this in the charity shop the other day. It is hand dyed with red cabbage. I think it's sort of a sock weight. It's quite nice. I don't know, I picked it up slightly on a whim because it was £1 and I thought it was cool. You don't often find hand dyed wool for £1. Then it's just various shades of burgundy, but they're all slightly different. There is not one single shade of burgundy where I have enough of it to do a jumper or anything like that, which is deeply irritating, to be perfectly honest. They're all bits like this, but they are the perfect kind of thing to use for tablet weaving and rigid heddle weaving on my looms to do medieval stuff. This is the year I've joined a reenactment group because I wanted to get out of the house more. So yeah, I've got to say, a lot of this is kind of mentally put aside for reenactment. Might not get to it this year because I'm having surgery this year, so it might be a next year thing, but definitely this is kind of like mentally it's been set aside for that kind of project. So it has a purpose. I feel like I'm just justifying keeping stuff. That's not the goal. I'm happy with the natural fibres as they stand. There's nothing in here that like doesn't have a job to do, even if most of those jobs are to be woven up on stuff, which means I should probably pull my finger out and start weaving then, shouldn't I? Oh, and I've got all of this left over from when I unravelled that jumper / some of these balls were literally never used. To be honest, there's almost enough to knit myself another jumper with this. I might see if I can knit myself a halibut sweater, because I'm very short in the torso and I've got quite short arms, so I generally use a lot less wool than is recommended for like a size large or a size extra large, because I'm 4'8", but I'm quite broad of shoulder, so I have to wear like a large or an extra large in most knitting patterns. Right. If I say right enough times, do you think it'll work and I'll actually get stuff done? No. Do I currently have the energy to sit, weigh everything and write it down? I started with good intentions. I think the answer is no. That seems to be a project for a day where I have more energy, so I'm going to come back to that. Make a note of this, future Zoe. Frickin' come back and do it, please. I know that you don't like it when I leave tasks for you to do, because I don't want to do them now. You're going to have to live with it. I still haven't done it. You're on your own there, bud. Future Zoe, your problem. I feel good about this. This seems like an okay amount of natural fibre to have, given that it's my preferred medium. I actually don't enjoy knitting with acrylic wool very much. Again, not a wool snob thing, just a texture thing. A lot of people prefer it, and that's also completely fine. I'm not going through the cones because there's nothing on the cones that I don't like. So there's no point going through them. Also, I have my knitting machine set up. So cones are a-okay in this house. Yeah, okay. I have destashed 3 balls of cotton. So probably like a whole 150 grams if we're being generous of natural fibre. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. It's a bit of a random one today, but I thought as a little midweek update that you might enjoy it. And